Good morning. This is Muhammad Suleiman, Assistant Professor of Commerce, working at MVS Government Degree College Autonomous, Mahbub Nagar. Today, let us learn about discharge of contract. As all of us know that a contract creates obligations on the parties to a contract, and they are supposed to fulfill their obligations that which they have agreed upon. Therefore, the contract when completed or the contract when the obligations of the parties are complete is said to be discharged, and there are some cases uh, under which the obligations of parties may not be fulfilled properly and there may be a discharge of contract and so on. Therefore, let us learn today about the discharge of contract, and these are the objectives of the lesson. At the end of the lesson, we will be able to learn about introduction to the discharge of contract and modes of discharge of contract, then discharge by agreement, discharge by performance, discharge by breach, discharge by impossibility of performance, discharge by lapse of time, then discharge by operation of law, and few exceptions to this point, that is discharge of contract. As all of us know that a contract is created by parties to it, and after creation of the contract will give certain rights to some parties and will put certain obligations on some parties. Therefore, in order to say that a contract is complete, or in order to say that a contract is discharged, it is important that the rights and obligations created by the contract are finished, or the rights and obligations created by the contract are closed. Therefore, it is important to see whether the rights and obligations created by the contract are properly fulfilled by the parties or not. Therefore, the concept of discharge of contract becomes important, and the provisions relating to the discharge of contract are explained in very detailed manner, and hence the contract may be discharged in many ways. Like we can see that the contract may be discharged in the following ways, that is one, by that is through discharge by agreement, and discharge by performance, discharge by breach, discharge by impossibility of performance, discharge by a lapse of time, and discharge by operation of law. Therefore, a contract is said to be discharged or terminated when the rights and obligations created by it are extinguished in any of the following modes that have been explained, that is through agreement, through performance, by breach or by impossibility of performance, by lapse of time, and by operation of law. Let us see how a contract is discharged in the following modes one by one. First, let us learn about the discharge of contract by an agreement. A contract may come to an end by the mutual agreement of the parties to it. When the parties to the contract come to a mutual agreement and are ready to discharge the contract, then the rights and obligations created by an agreement can be discharged without their performance by means of another agreement between the parties. And the rights and obligations created by an agreement can be closed or can be given up through some new agreement made between the parties. And when one new agreement is entered into, the old agreement or the rights and duties given in the old agreement are automatically closed. The parties may agree to terminate the existence of the contract in many ways. It all depends upon the mutual agreement of the parties to the contract. They may either take up a farming one more new contract, or they may make some alterations to the existing contract, or they may completely set aside the contract, and so on. Therefore, the discharge by agreement can be done in many ways, and the following are the few ways in which the contract may be discharged through mutual agreement of the parties to the contract. And the ways are novation, alteration, rescission, remission, waiver, accord, and satisfaction. Let us learn all these one by one. Let us see first of all what is meant by novation. Novation means a new contract. A new contract is substituted in the place of an old contract, and it may be either between the same parties, or there may be some change in the parties given. That is, a new party may also join the existing old contract, and the consent of old parties to the contract is essential here. Unless there is an extinguishment of all rights and obligations under the old contract, there is no novation. In order to say that there is novation, or in order to uh, arrive at a conclusion that novation has happened, all the rights and obligations provided in the old contract shall come to an end. Then only we can say that there is novation. Therefore, if the new agreement is formed, all the terms and conditions, or all the terms of the contract of old contract will come to an end. But it is important to note that when the new contract is not enforceable, the old contract will revive automatically. It is not necessary to say that when the new contract formed by the parties, or when the contract formed through novation is unenforceable due to some reason. Let us assume if it is unenforceable, then the old contract will hold good, and the new contract that has been formed in the form of novation will not be a valid one. Therefore, it is important that when the new contract form is a valid one and is enforceable, the old contract will automatically cease to exist. But when the new contract is not enforceable for any reason, then the old contract holds good. Therefore, novation is important in terms of enforceability of the new contract that has been made. And there are some essential requirements of novation of a contract. In order to make novation successful, there are some essential requirements which we can see one by one. The first essential requirement for novation is it shall happen with the consent of all the parties. All the parties to the contract shall give consent in order to novate the contract, in order to make a new contract in the place of old contract. Then second essential condition is the new contract that has been formed or new contract that has been signed shall be enforceable. Otherwise, the novation or the making a new contract is not possible. Then third one, the agreement that has been substituted for the in the place of the old contract must be made before the expiry of the new contract. If for example the old contract is expiring on 31st of July, then in order to substitute the old contract, a new contract shall be signed before 31st July, that is before the expiry of the old contract. Then only we can say that there is novation, otherwise there is no novation in this case. Then second possibility in order to say that the contract is discharged by an agreement is alteration. Alteration is nothing but it is change in the terms and conditions of the contract. Alteration is valid if it is done only with the consent of all the parties. If some of the parties or one of the parties to the contract does not give consent, or if many parties to the contract do not give consent to the alteration, then alteration is not a valid one. But it is essential to note here that alteration can be done only with the existing parties and the parties to the contract cannot be changed, unlike novation. In case of novation, the parties to the contract may also be changed, but in case of alteration, the parties to the contract cannot be changed because the alteration demands only for change of certain conditions or terms of the contract, but not the parties. Therefore, alteration can be done only with the existing persons and only to the terms and conditions of the contract, and the original contract will be discharged only when the contract is fulfilled with the alterations made. Therefore, alteration is nothing but the change in the terms and conditions of the existing contract. Then another way in which a contract may be discharged through some agreement is a rescission. Rescission is nothing but cancellation of the contract. And cancellation of the contract is possible only when all the parties to the contract agree for cancellation of the contract and the contract will come to an end. And it is essential to see that rescission results in the dissolution of the contract, and on the other hand, novation and alteration will ensure that the contract is fulfilled and performed, and the contract, if it is ended through mutual agreement on rescission, need not be performed. The parties to the contract or one of the parties to the contract is set free from their obligations, or one of the parties may give up their rights in case of rescission. And rescission can happen in one of the following forms. Number one, it is through mutual consent. If the parties feel that the contract shall be cancelled, then the consent of all parties will make the contract a rescinded contract and the original contract is cancelled. Then the rescission can be demanded by some aggrieved party. If one of the aggrieved parties or the promisee feels that the contract is not going according to the terms and conditions that have been agreed upon, then he or she may demand for rescission of the contract. Therefore, rescission of the contract may be demanded from one of the parties also. Then, in case of the parties whose consent is not free, in case of some contract, it may happen that the consent given by one of the parties is not free. In that case, also the party may demand for rescission of the contract. So, this is one way where a contract can be ended with agreement. Then, one more method is through remission. Remission is nothing but accepting the lesser amount or lesser degree of performance than the actual performance, than the actual which was due by one of the parties. And it is a unilateral act of the promisee discharging at his will and pleasure of the obligation of the other. So it is nothing but accepting the lesser amount than what is actually due at the will of the one of the parties, and setting the other person free from his obligations. In normal cases, remission happens in case of taking the monetary benefits or accepting the stock from the promisee, wherein if he is unable to give to the full extent or unable to repay the full amount, in case a relaxation may be given in order to complete the contract by accepting the lesser amount or lesser degree of performance than what is actually accepted upon. Then one more method of closing the contract or discharging the contract through some agreement is by waiver. Waiver, it means abandonment of right which a person is entitled to. It is nothing but giving up of the right which a person is entitled to. A party to a contract may waive his rights under the contract, whereupon the other party is released from his obligations and responsibilities. It is nothing but giving up the rights and setting free the person from his obligations and his responsibilities. To constitute a waiver, neither an agreement is required nor a consideration is necessary, because it is nothing but it is totally giving up of the rights and giving up of the rights due from one person and setting the another person free from his obligations. Then one more way in which a contract may be discharged through agreement is accord and satisfaction. Accord means the promise to accept less than what is due under the old contract. This is somewhat same as in case of remission, accepting the less amount or less performance than what is due under the original one. Then satisfaction means the payment or fulfillment of the smaller obligation. So here the person to whom the right is given will accept or will agree upon taking a small amount or taking a lesser amount than what is actually agreed upon. Therefore, the contract may be discharged through agreement in the following ways. Now, let us see the discharge of contract by performance. This is usual way, or this is the most common way in which a contract is discharged. Performance of the contract is one of the most usual ways of discharge of a contract. For example, if a person agreed to sell his house for rupees 10 lakhs, then the person who is purchasing the house for rupees 10 lakhs will remit amount rupees 10 lakhs and takes over the house. In this case, the person who has paid rupees 10 lakhs as consideration will get house in return, and the person who is selling his house for rupees 10 lakhs will get 10 lakhs rupees as consideration. Therefore, the parties on both sides have discharged their obligations and they are free now, and the contract has come to an end and the contract has been discharged by performance. Therefore, it is nothing but doing what has been promised. On the performance of the obligation undertaken, the contract is automatically discharged. Here, there is no need to novate, there is no need to resign, there is no need to alter, or there is no need to go for remission or any other thing. The contract is automatically discharged due to the performance and the contract is complete. And when a party has not performed its promise, then there is a problem here. But in normal circumstances, what happens is when the parties complete their responsibility, when the parties fulfill the obligations that they are supposed to, the contract is automatically discharged. And the contract is terminated when the both parties completely perform the exact thing that has been agreed to do so, and there is no breach or there is no complaint on side of any party in discharge by performance of the contract. Then one more way in which a contract is discharged by breach. In every contract, all the parties who have agreed upon to fulfill their obligations are normally expected to complete their obligations and complete the contract or discharge the contract. But in some situations, it may happen that the parties who actually agree to perform the agreed upon job or the agreed upon work fail to do so. Hence, if any party fails to perform his obligation, then there is a breach of contract. Then we say that a breach of contract has taken place, and breach of contract operates as discharge of the contract. When some party is not in a position to fulfill his obligations, when some party is not in a position to discharge his obligations, then it is said that the contract has been discharged by breach, and the breach may happen when the performance is actually due, or when the performance when actually performing the contract. The only difference between these two situations is when the performance is actually due, there is no commencement of fulfilling the obligations on part of the promisee. If a promisee has agreed to supply 10 benches to a school, let us assume, before supplying of first bench itself, or before supplying of total 10 benches, even before the date of completing or fulfilling his obligations, he may uh, fail to perform his obligation. Then in such a case, it is breach of a contract when performance is actually due. On the other hand, contrary to this, when the performance is when actually performing the contract, if the same person who is supposed to make 10 benches for a school prepares 4 benches and fails to prepare another 6 benches, then in such a case it is called the breach of a contract while performing the contract. Some work is already done and some work is not done. Therefore, breach may be either on the whole of the obligations, or it could be a part of the obligations to perform on side of one party, or in case of both parties also. Therefore, a contract is said to be discharged in case of the breach of the responsibility also. Then one more thing we have, that is discharged by discharge of a contract by impossibility of performance. Sometimes it may happen that a contract may not be possible to perform also, or the responsibility or obligations that have been agreed upon by one party may not be in a position to be completed because of some impossibility of performance. And impossibility of performance automatically results in discharge of the contract. Agreements which are impossible in itself are void because a law does not compel to perform the impossible things. But a promise uh, which is possible to perform shall be performed and the contract shall be discharged. But in some cases, it happens that a promise which is made in such a manner that it is highly impossible to perform. For example, a person called Mr. X can enter into a contract with a person called Mr. Y to raise a mango tree in 1 hour. In natural situation or in normal times, it is not possible to raise a mango tree in 1 hour. It will take years together for a mango tree to give mangoes. Therefore, in such a case, the thing which has been agreed upon is not possible to perform. Therefore, this contract is discharged under the reason or on the grounds of impossibility of performance. And impossibility referred in this case must be in existence at the time when the contract is actually made. Sometimes it may be known to the parties, or it may be in the knowledge of the parties, and sometimes it may not be in the knowledge of the parties. Therefore, in order to say something or some act is impossible, there are some conditions. First one is the act should have become impossible. The act which has been agreed upon in the contract should have become impossible. Then second one is the reason of impossibility could not be prevented by the promisor. The promisor is not in a position to prevent or control the reason that has led to impossibility of performance. As we discussed in the earlier example, that to raise a mango tree in 1 hour is not in the hands of the promisor. Even if he promises, it is not possible to perform because it is not in his hands to raise the mango tree within 1 hour. Therefore, in case of such acceptance, or in case of such promises, the promise cannot be realized or completed. And the impossibility should not be self-induced one. It shall not be created by the promisor itself or any other party, which is a self-induced reason which has led to discharge by impossibility of performance of a contract. Therefore, when all these three conditions are fulfilled, we say that the contract is discharged automatically because of impossibility of performance. And there are some effects of impossibility of performance. Then impossibility of performance can happen on many grounds. For example, in case of death of a person or death of a person who has actually promised, then in such a case the person cannot perform his obligations. Therefore, the contract will become impossible for completion or impossible to discharge. Then in some cases it may happen that there is a change of law. If two parties have accepted for uh, exchange of some commodity which is permitted by law on the date of contract. Let us assume the contract is supposed to be completed after 1 month, and in the meanwhile, after 10 days, there is a ban put on exchanging or buying and selling of such commodity. Then, in such a case, what happens is the performance of the contract becomes difficult because in the change of law. Therefore, the contract is automatically deemed to be discharged because of the impossibility of performance that has come due to the change of law. Then, in some cases, it may happen that the destruction of the subject matter or the commodity that has been agreed upon for exchange or for giving in the contract itself is destructed. Then in such a case what will happen is the agreed upon subject matter is not into existence or it is not present, then the performance of the contract is not possible. Therefore impossibility arises, and the contract will be discharged automatically due to impossibility of performance. And there are some effects of impossibility of performance wherein the contract becomes void and it cannot be completed. As explained by various reasons earlier, the contract cannot be completed and becomes void. And later on, if some benefit is already given, if some benefit is already assumed, if some benefit is already accepted or taken, the benefit must be restored to the other party as the contract is not in a position to be completed. And in some cases it happens that the person who has promised for performance will have some obligations or might have entered into some other contract with some other parties also. It may happen. Then in such a case the compensation for non-performance of the contract shall be given to the aggrieved party because he might have spent a lot of amount in order to see that the contract is fulfilled, but due to impossibility of performance the contract could not be completed. In such a case compensation for non-performance may also be demanded by some parties to the contract. Having known all these things, now let us see discharge of a contract by lapse of time. Sometimes it might happen that the time frame given for a contract to be completed may not be sufficient, or sometimes it may happen that the parties to the contract may not respond within the given time. Then this is a case of lapse of time. And it is good to note that a contract is discharged by lapse of time also. The Limitation Act 1940 lays down that a contract should be performed within a specified period that has been agreed upon. For example, if one person makes a contract with another person to purchase his house within 6 months, 6 months is the time given here to complete the contract or to fulfill the obligation and pay consideration and purchase the house. If within 6 months or on the completion of 6 months also, if the party does not turn up, then in such a case it is discharge of contract due to lapse of time. When the promisee could not complete, or when the promiser cannot complete or perform the agreed upon thing, then the contract is said to be discharged automatically due to the lapse of time. And the Limitation Act 1940 also specifies the time period within which the contract shall be completed. If the contract is not performed and no legal action is taken by the promisee within the period of limitation, he is deprived of his remedy at law and the contract is terminated in such a case. The contract is automatically terminated and the performance which could not be done will lead to discharge of contract by lapse of time. So this is also one of the ways in which a contract may be discharged due to lapse of time. Now let us see one more mode in which a contract can be discharged. So discharge by operation of law. In some cases, it may happen that the contract that has been made is discharged due to the operation of law. When law operates and the provisions of law will not allow are not allowing the completion of the contract, then in such a case it is said to be discharge of a contract by operation of law. Due to the enactment of new law or due to the fulfillment of some provisions of one particular law, the contract is automatically discharged. For example, in case of insolvency, in case of merger, in case of alteration, and in case of death of one of the parties to the contract, then the contract is said to be discharged automatically. Let us see one by one. First is discharged through insolvency. Insolvency is a position wherein a person is unable to pay his debts and has become bankrupt, and there is no sufficient balance with him either in his name or in the bank, or there is no property in his name which could be sold and the amount can be recovered from him. Even if some thing is about to be recovered from him is not sufficient to pay his all dues. In such a case, a person is said to be insolvent, and the rights and liabilities of the insolvent are transferred to some other person who is looking as a official assignee or as a official receiver in some areas, wherein the person who has become insolvent is not given any possibility or any right of making transactions, and the amount recovered from proceeds of his assets or any balances that he has are distributed among the various stakeholders or various creditors who have given amount or service to that person. Then in such a case, the contract entered into by various parties in case of insolvency will come to an end automatically, and the contract is said to be discharged due to the operation of law, as the person is not in a position to complete the obligations because of insolvency or because of his position that has become insolvent. Therefore, the contract will be discharged by the operation of law in case of insolvency. Then one more thing that makes a contract to be discharged by operation of law is merger. Merger, it is nothing but it is the situation in which an acceptance of higher security in the place of lower one, and it is an operation of law which extinguishes a right by virtue of his coinciding with another and greater right in the same person. Therefore, in case of merger also, the contract is automatically discharged due to the operation of law. Then one more reason in which a contract may be discharged by operation of law is alteration. In case of alteration in the written documents, in case of changes in the conditions of the written documents, the contract is said to be discharged by operation of law automatically. If the alteration is a material alteration which has changed the total terms and conditions of the contract itself, then the contract is said to be discharged automatically. For example, if a bill of exchange written for the amount of rupees 50,000 is altered as 5,000 rupees by removing one zero, let us assume, then the contract is said to be altered and it is assumed that the contract is discharged by the operation of law, because 50,000 is not equal to 5,000, or any amount that is different from the amount which is actually entered or which has been actually entered will alter the terms of the contract, and the contract is said to be discharged due to the operation of law and due to alteration. Therefore, it is important to note that alteration in the terms and conditions of the contract will discharge the contract automatically. Then, one more way in which a contract is discharged by operation of law is due to death. When performance of the contract is made to be by a particular person, or is to be completed by a particular person, and due to the death of that person, the performance could not be done. Therefore, the law provides that the contract is automatically discharged due to the death of the particular person who has actually promised. Therefore, contract is discharged by operation of law also, wherein it may be discharged in case of insolvency, in case of merger, in case of alteration, and in case of death also. And after seeing all these things, let us see whether there are some exceptions, whether there are some exceptions to the discharge of a contract from the above said reasons: discharge by agreement, discharge by performance, discharge by impossibility, and so on. So here it is important to learn that there are some exceptions also, wherein the contract is discharged, and the various exceptions mentioned here are due to difficulty of performance, commercial impossibility, impossibility due to failure of third person, self-induced impossibility, failure of one of the objects, strikes, lockouts, and civil disturbances. So all these are exceptions in which the discharge of a contract is uh, not allowed. One is difficulty of performance. Difficulty of performance arises because of non responsiveness or non performance of a promiser to complete one particular task. It could be due to any reasons, but when difficulty of performance is there, then it is difficult or it is not possible for a party to complete the transaction. Therefore, difficulty of performance shall be one of the exceptions. And a contract is not discharged by reason of the fact that the performance is more difficult, more expensive, and more burdensome or less profitable than the parties anticipated. Therefore, difficulty of performance is one of the exceptions to the discharge of a contract. Then one more exception is commercial impossibility. It may happen in some contracts that the contract has become difficult due to commercial impossibility. The anticipated profit may not be received, or the cost of completion of the agreed upon work may go up. Then, in such a case, the party will feel that it is impossible to complete the contract due to commercial reasons, but it is not an excusable reason wherein the cost of an agreed contract has gone up and the party is not in a position to complete the contract. Therefore, there shall be a proper reason in which a commercial impossibility is accepted. Then, one more exception is impossibility due to failure of third person. In some cases, it may happen that two parties who are contracting between them may enter into a contract with a belief and trust or hope on some other third person. For example, if I contract into for supplying of some goods or material that are to be received from some other person situated in some other country or some other state, and I can fulfill the contract only on receipt of goods or the stock from that supplier. In such a case, what happens is when the supplier does not give goods to me, or when the supplier does not supply the goods to me, it is not possible for me to perform because of the impossibility due to failure of the third person. Then in such a case, what happens is it is not possible for me to complete the contract due to impossibility that has arisen due to failure of a third person. Let us take one more example here. For example, if I get a tender or if I get an order from a school for supply of school uniforms for 200 students, let us assume. In order to supply school uniforms to 200 students, I must have textile cloth with me so that I can prepare 200 school uniforms with me. I believed and I agreed that I can provide school uniform to 200 students based on the supply that will be made to me from a textile manufacturer. Say, for example, after some days, the textile manufacturer does not supply textile cloth to me. Then, in such a case, even though I am ready to prepare 200 school uniforms for supplying to that school, it is not possible for me to prepare school uniforms because of non-receipt of textile cloths, because of non-receipt of textile from the textile manufacturer. Then, in such a case, what may happen is the contract could not be completed because of impossibility due to failure of a third person. Then, in some cases, it may happen that it is a self-induced impossibility also. Some situations may develop in which the impossibility that has come due to the self-induced reason of the promisor or self-induced reason of the one of the parties to the contract. Then, in such a case, when the impossibility is due to the default of the contracting party himself, then the contract will not be frustrated if it is caused by the act or omission of the contracting parties. Therefore, the promisor is not discharged when his failure is actually due to his self-induced reason, and he is supposed to perform in future also. Therefore, self-induced impossibility is one of the exceptions to the discharge of a contract due to impossibility. Then one more exception here is failure of one of the objects. When one of the objects of the contract fail, then the contract may become difficult to perform. Then, in such a case, it will be a failure on one of the objects of the contract and will become an exception due to the impossibility of performance of the contract. Then it may happen that sometimes there is a possibility that some new developments will take place, like strikes, lockouts, and civil disturbances, which will create a disturbance and do not provide or do not allow the performance or completion of the contract by whatsoever may be the reason. For example, there is a strike in a factory and labor will not come to work. Then, in such a case, all the supply contracts that have been agreed upon by the owner of the factory will be discharged because he is not in a position to supply the goods as agreed upon due to the strike that has been called upon by the workers. Then, in such a case, he is in a helpless condition, and all the benefits that he has taken or all the advances that he has taken may be required to be refunded. Then, in such a case, what happens is the strikes will become a problem for completion of or fulfillment of the contract. Then, one more reason could be lockouts. When the factory is locked out, or when there is a closure of factory due to some reason, due to the strike, due to the operation of law, or due to some natural calamity, or due to some any other reason which has developed for lockout of the factory or lockout of the production unit, then in such a case also it is difficult. Therefore, it is important to see that lockout is also one of the exceptions for impossibility of performance of a contract. And in some cases, it may happen that there are Civil disturbances which cause a problem for the performance of the contract. Then, in such a case, also civil disturbances will become an exception for the performance of the contract, and the following exceptions are treated as exceptions for the discharge of a contract due to impossibility of performance. Thank you.